Buckle up because today we're going to be going over a big one. Data Analysis Expressions, or DAX if you're one of the cool kids. Welcome back to our video series on Power BI Basics, where we're teaching you how to use Power BI from the ground up. If you're interested in learning Power BI, please take a second to hit the subscribe button. I'm releasing short, easy to follow tutorials daily. Now let's jump in. So DAX is a formula expression language mostly used in Power BI, but you can also use it in Excel with Power Pivot or in analysis services. It's specifically used to calculate in and query in tabular data models. You can use DAX to do a few different things in Power BI. So first, you can create measures. If we had a visual on the screen, you could create a visual calculation. In data view, you can create a calculated column. You can also define a table. And then you can finally, in model view, you can go ahead and you can create a calculation group up here or write queries in DAX view. Now, it's fine if at this point you don't know what any of these things are, because they're things we haven't covered. But for now, let's just focus in on measures, as they're what we're going to primarily be learning DAX with and primarily what you're going to be writing DAX into. So measures are calculation formulas that produce results that change depending on the context that you're in. So over here, we have some sales data, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to define a measure, and I'm going to call that measure total sales. So right now, if you saw, I just clicked new measure, and I'm going to call it total sales. And then I'm going to equal sum, and I'm going to go sales data total sales. So that's it. This is DAX right here, and I've just defined my first measure. Now, you know how I said the measure changes depending on the context that it's used in? Well, it really changes depending on two things: the filter context or the row context. So I'm going to add a visual in Power BI, in particular table visual, which is this icon right here, and I'm going to drag this, or I'm going to double click this over. So now that I have a table, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bring in product ID. So if you see right now, we have kind of a count of product ID, and I'll go through and I will change this so it doesn't summarize. So here's my list now of product IDs, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag in my measure. Now, what you can see is that even though my measure is a single formula, it's calculating that formula for each row of the table. So that's the row context. However, over here, or if you're cross-filtering with another visual, you also have something called the filter context. So in this case, I've got product ID, and I can change this to basic filtering, and I can go select query 1. As you can see, it changed my total here. So we're going to be diving into this in quite a bit more detail over the next few videos. So if you're interested in learning more about DAX or Power BI, subscribe. I'm releasing a new video tutorial. They're short, easy to digest, watch one a day, to help teach you Power BI. And I'd be happy to have you along for the journey.